everyone, it's Sharana from Pay Your Weight, and today I'm going to be reviewing Insecure Season 4, Episode 8, Low Key Happy. You guys, I am sorry you're not getting your typical Pay Your Weight. It's just a lot that's been happening in the country right now, and I really have to say that this is what I needed to really snap me out of this funk that I've been in. This episode was just so well done. I definitely want to give a kudos to Natasha, who did an amazing job writing this episode. This episode where Issa and Lawrence finally get to have the conversation that we have literally been arguing for how many years at this point, going against the Lawrence hive. I just cannot. Let me just get into the episode. So Lawrence, in the last week's episode, after he runs into Molly, he calls Issa and tells Issa that he wants to meet up and have a conversation. I thought that he was calling condolences when he said that, but technically I'm still kind of right, and I'm going to get into that because when I tell you I was heated, okay, heated. If I had just shaved, all the hairs on my body would be standing up right now. You know what, y'all? I'm lying. I still ain't shaved. It's okay. It happens. We're in a pandemic. Where are we going? So we see that they end up meeting up at a restaurant. And so as Issa walks in, she looking good. I said, girl, you better do that little walk don't you know you missed out on this? And then my girl fell. And I said, well, damn. Issa, you only had a couple of steps. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to put the blame on Issa. I'm going to put the blame on the floors that was too wet, that they should have been washing, just should have had it together. And it brought me back some PTSD of when I fell. I've fallen a couple of times in front of booths, had my foot ran over in some open-toed heels one time on a date with one of my crushes. I've just been through a lot in life. So I felt that moment for Issa. But you know what? She got back up. She went and met up with Lawrence, made it to the bar finally. And so they're having this conversation. And so, he tells her that he ended up running into Molly at the airport. He's like, she really liked Full House. And she's like, well, we're not cool anymore. And then he's kind of like, what? What happened? What are you talking about? But he's kind of like, hey, can we talk about something else? Still sore subject. Let's just chill. Let's talk about something else. And then we see that he tells her that he was in San Francisco because he asked about the block party. He wasn't there because he was actually in San Francisco looking for other job opportunities, interviewing. And so, this whole time while they're going back and forth and having these conversations, you could just really tell that, they still got it. I was just watching the episode and I was just like, dang, can I just meet somebody and we could just fast forward to the part where we already know each other? I ain't got to stay up late on the phone trying to cake with you or go out on this many dates. I just want to get to the part where we just know each other, can finish each other's sentences, just have that chemistry. I don't want to have to build it with someone. I was just like, I miss this, but I don't miss these 8-inch dudes, okay? Thank you. So, they start playing Truth Hurts up in the restaurant, which this goes into every restaurant is not a club, you guys. Okay. Some people really just want to go have a drink, be able to converse with someone, be able to hear the person sitting next to them at the bar. And for some reason, we've just turned everything into a club. And being in Atlanta, I truly felt that moment when they start playing Truth Hurts, even though I did get crunk, that's my song, that's my jam. But we see everyone being disrespectful, bumping into them, the dude coming in the middle of them, ordering drinks. So they decide to leave, and then they were like, hey, let me close the tab out. And the dude was like, well, the dude manager said it's on him because you busted your ass. And I was just like, well, I mean, you did, but thank you for giving us the free drinks. But it almost made me feel like, girl, you probably could have sued and got you some money. But you know what? We're talking about growth, so you don't even have to do all of that. So then we see they end up going to another place, and he asked her, what about that spot you wanted to go to when we were dating? So I was just like, oh, so you remember the spot that you wanted to go to, but you couldn't afford it. You know what? I ain't gonna do that in this video. I'm just gonna keep it fair. I ain't gonna do that because you know what? We are moving in the forward. We're not talking about the past anymore. So then he ends up calling an Uber, calls a Lyft, and then I did not like when my drivers chat. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't know you. I appreciate you. I will be respectful to your car. Hopefully your car don't stink because then that just makes me mad on a whole nother level. But we don't need to have a conversation. So, he got money. He called the little Lyft Black. I was like, who got coins. I ain't doing all of that. So the Uber driver or Lyft driver is being really talkative, super talkative, and then they kind of playing along. They're like, oh, this y'all first date? And then they were like, no, this is not our first date. And then he was like, I had a ring, I was going to propose. And she kind of looked at him like, hold on, wait a minute, you had a ring? But, he make it seem like they were just like playing, going back and forth and stuff like that. And so then she was like, when she turned around and flashed a light on him and said, don't wait, do it now. I just said, ma'am, but you know what? Look at you trying to look out for Issa. Try to look out for her. I see you, ma'am. Go ahead and make sure that he go ahead and do what he said he was going to do. But when he did the Kirk Franklin line, it hit harder because they gave us that verses today, which was fire. I was just like, they didn't even know. Look at God, time that up, line it up just right for y'all on the day of the verses. You have that line in the script. See, Natasha is anointed. Okay, so they end up going to the spot, and he realizes that she's actually been to the spot. She just played it off for him because she didn't want to, divulge all of that. But he was like, hey, we ain't got to tiptoe around. Like, we can just keep it real with one another. I said, okay, we keep it real. All right. So they're having a little bit more flirtations back and forth. I really want to know, is Prosecco, I want to get some Prosecco and just see, does Prosecco and vodka like go together? Is that like a thing? Because she had me thinking about it. I didn't know at this point. So I think I need to try that. I'm going to go buy some Prosecco this weekend, upcoming weekend, when payday comes, and just see if it's really good or not. But they get into this conversation, and this is when things get very real. And I thought that this part of the episode is so beautifully written when Issa and Lawrence, they kind of have this conversation, because she was like, hey, like, what were you trying to talk to me about? Like, we done been to like 2 places at this point. Like, what were you trying to talk to me about? And so essentially he tells her that he says, did he give up too soon on their relationship? Like, he had been thinking a lot about, their relationship and how things ended, and whether or not, he gave things up too easily. And so this is when they get into some very serious, like, dialogue, and he asks her, like, why Daniel? And then she was just like, he was there. Like, he was giving me the attention that you weren't giving me. Like, we weren't having sex. Like, you barely paid attention to me. You wouldn't talk to me about anything that was happening with you. And so it came off as if you just did not want me anymore. And so even when she told him, like, he was like, were things really that bad? And she was like, when I would get out for work, I would literally drive around in circles because I just did not want to come home. And I was just like, wow, like, it was that bad that you didn't even want to come home and just be in that, like, just bad space. Like, that's how much you hated being at home. That's how bad the relationship got. But also, too, when he told her that, like, I thought about moving back with my parents. Also, too, like, I just, every day when you would wake up and go to work, I like, hated myself for it. I just didn't know how to deal. The fact that you had somewhere to be and I literally had nowhere to be. And I was just like, wow, like, that was a real conversation, you guys. I know that I've given Lawrence a lot of crap, but it takes a lot to be able to sit up there and first call someone and tell her, like, hey, we need to talk. Because Lawrence, as he said, he had the easy out because Issa did cheat, whether or not that there were issues beforehand that led her to cheating, like, he had the easy out. And so him basically telling her, like, he let it go because it was easier for him to blame her and base the downfall of their relationship on them cheating, rather than him having to actually deal with his stuff and own the fact that he is not happy about where he is in life. And I just thought that that was just such a very mature and just a real and vulnerable conversation for them to have, and the way that that was written to, I mean, hell, it had me thinking, like, should I call my exes and get some closure? Because when I'm done, I'm done. You're blocked. You can't call me. Don't call me. I think I've only had one ex that I could actually talk to. And hell, we don't even talk anymore. So I was just like, should I call? And I was like, no, because all my exes, they ain't ish. Mine is actually 2. One was still kind of ish, ain't ish. But the other one was a good person. I wasn't mature enough to be in that relationship. So when they're having this conversation, I was just like, wow, like, when y'all talk about growth, that's a lot of growth to get to where they were. And I think it helps you to understand that Issa and Lawrence dated in their 20s. Like, they were not emotionally mature to be able to have those conversations. Because it makes you sit there and think, well, damn, if y'all would have just had this conversation that you had now back then, like, where would you guys be at this point? And even when she asked him, like, did you really have a ring? He was like, yeah, I was ready to marry you. But when I was like, when she kind of had to take a pause for a moment, he was like, oh, you just realized you ain't ish. I said, sir, stop it. But even though this whole back and forth was cute and I love how it was written, I was like, why is Condolences texting you? Because in the beginning of the conversation when they were at the first place, he said that they, when she told him, like, hey, I heard you guys broke up, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's when you should have said, well, yeah, like, but, we kind of reconnected because you said you weren't tiptoeing. Remember, we're not tiptoeing. So why is Condolences calling your phone? You already made a plan to have a date with her on Thursday, and then she's texting him like, well, what about tonight? And he was like, okay, well, I'll hit you up a little bit later. I'm like, sir, so we stacking people now? This is when I start getting heated, okay? Then, so Issa ends up running into Calvin, the TSA dude, and that was absolutely hilarious, that entire interaction. Either how Lawrence played her, because if she basically said like, hey, well, let's go to this like little art show, and then he was like, oh, well, I got something else to do, but I had fun tonight, kiss her on the cheek. I said, bruh, are you serious right now? So you talking all this like, what if we were together? What if we gave it another shot? And then you gonna leave to go be with Condolences raggedy behind? Really? So then we realized that he was playing, but while they're hanging out and talking, and you can just really see that Lawrence and Issa are just like in two totally different places. Like, they're happy with where they are. They're happy with who they're becoming. And you just, like, they just come, I know I keep saying mature, but they just come off so mature in this episode and really grounded in knowing what makes them happy, where they want to be professionally and personally. Like, and it was nice, Lawrence is like, hey, like, I like this version of you. Like, this is cool. And so, but then Condolences keeps calling. So she's like, do you have somewhere do you need to take that? Do you need me to give you a moment? She ain't saying it like how I'm saying it. But, like, that's how I would have said it. That's probably why I'm single. But he's like, nah, everything's cool. So they end up basically, going, catching a lift back together. She's like, well, let me get the lift this time. Like, where do you live? Maybe we can go in the same direction. And this fool lived right around the corner from her. So I was like, oh, Issa, I know someone for to get some. I don't know if it's going to be Condolences or if it's going to be you, but you play your cards right, you get some of that old thing pain. So they go back. And I was like, yeah, Issa. When she was like, I ain't calling no, like, black. I was like, exactly, because you're only riding in a car for a couple minutes. Like, who needs to spend all that money on that? That was just a waste of money. So they end up going back, and then she comes up with an excuse to try to, like, basically get him into inviting her in to see his place. I said, well done, Issa. I see you. So she ends up asking him, like, where's the bathroom? And so while she's in the bathroom, he goes and calls Condolences. And I was like, bruh, you are ruining a good evening and a good episode for me, going back and forth with this raggedy trick who really did Issa dirty in the first place with the block party. So he's still trying to, like, play it to, like, I'll hit you up later tonight, whatever. And then Issa, he could walk back in, and Issa's like, hey, like, what's up? Like, are you, like, what's going on with you guys at this point? So, basically, she says, like, hey, like, what if she wanted to stay? And then he was like, tonight, I had fun tonight. And then I was happy about tonight, how tonight went. And then she was like, well, you make me happy. I said, get your man, Issa. You learn from Love and Basketball, honey, okay? So she says she's not ready for the night to end. And then they start bumping and grinding, okay? Then when that song, what was the song called, child? Show You by Baby Rose. That was a very great song. Very awesome song choice. Like, very, very well done. And I'm just like, she got her back blown out. Okay? You see when she left, she's like, I'm going to walk myself home because I got my back blown out. She had a little pep in herself, walking all happy. She had me feeling like I got some. But I know that wasn't the case. But still, Issa, what is going on with you and Lawrence now? We need to know. I felt like that was like some goodbye sex, like closure sex, but maybe we can see where it's going. Cause I don't know, like, cause the whole thing with condolences still has me feeling a certain type of way that he was like still trying to hang out with her in the same night that he was hanging out with Issa. Because at the end of the day, like, you call Issa. It ain't like Issa called you and you fit her into your schedule. You call Issa. So I just feel like he was being really messy, even though that's his right because he is single. But if you on this whole like take me back tour or let's like reminisce tour, I just feel like it was a bit much. Y'all can let me know if it rubbed you the wrong way, but it rubbed me the wrong way. But we see that, you know, she ends up going back and they kind of doing their separate things. So not like anything was really discussed like the morning after. So I don't know. This is crazy. I never thought that I would actually be on board with Issa and Lawrence being back together. But I think it's mainly because of the conversation that they had and because he was so honest and she was so honest as to what happened and what went wrong. I'm okay with this. This ain't no excuse for y'all to be going back to all them little raggedy people y'all was with before. Don't do that. Don't be letting them set you up for the okie doke, not during this pandemic, okay? But I'm okay with them taking things slow and seeing what they're going to do. I still think that Lawrence is going to end up getting the job in San Francisco. He's going to ultimately end up in making a choice, either Issa to go move with him or they can do this long distance thing, or he will stay and really try to make the whole thing with him and Issa work. I don't know. I don't know if we still going to hear from Condolences Raggedy Behind. I'm not sure. But this was a very good episode. A very good episode to the point I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I wanted to be in love. I wanted to be in love. I felt like I wanted to be with someone. I wanted to find someone and get my back blown out on the regular. But then I had to come back to reality once the episode ended. And then we see that Molly and Issa are going to have their talk next week. To be honest, I was on such a high with Issa and Lawrence in this episode that I really just didn't even care to see anything about Issa and Molly. I didn't want to bring that negativity back into my life. Ugh. But I guess we're going to have to deal with it next week. But you guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, are you for Issa and Lawrence, like, getting back together? Are you mad that she, like, you know, got her son from him? Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about Raggedy Condolences. If you feel like Lawrence is kind of being messy with all this trying to juggle two people on the same night, let me know in the comment section below. But those are my thoughts on Insecure Season 4, Episode 8. Low-key happy. And I was low-key happy for both of them in this episode. As always, my name is Sharona from Pay Your Weight. If you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.